Ever feel like the world's stuck on repeat? Like every revolution just turns into another trend and real change never actually comes? Smash Mouth's Walking on the Sun isn't just a nostalgic jam. It's a razor sharp take on society's habit of recycling ideas without ever making progress. But buried in all that sarcasm is a challenge. What if we stopped just going through the motions? Let's break down why this song hits harder than you remember and what it's really saying about the world we live in. The verse starts with a playful yet cynical twist on the famous 1971 Coca-Cola jingle, "I'd like to teach the world to sing." Instead of buying the world a Coke for harmony, the singer wants to buy it a toke, a puff of marijuana, immediately setting a rebellious, carefree tone. This line suggests that the idealism of the past, peace, love, and unity, has been replaced by something more laid back, maybe even escapist. The next line, "teach the world to snuff the fires and the liars," hints at a desire to stop both literal destruction, fires, and deception, liars. But the singer quickly undercuts it by saying, "Hey, I know it's just a song." This acknowledges that the message is naive or overly optimistic, calling it spice for the recipe, just a flavoring, not the real substance of life. The next lines shift to mocking how trends and social movements come and go. The phrase "love attack" might refer to the peace and love vibes of the 60s and 70s, which the singer says went out but it's back. This implies that these ideals are recycled like fashion trends, popular for a while, then fading before they ever really make a difference. Retracts before impact. The comparison to fashion is key here. The singer points out how people adopt beliefs or styles just to fit in, a passion for the with it and hip. The last line, "if you got the goods, they'll come and buy it just to stay in the clique," drives home the idea that people follow trends, whether in music, politics, or culture, not out of real conviction, but to be part of the in crowd. Overall, this verse is a sarcastic take on idealism and trend chasing. It suggests that grand messages of peace and change often get watered down into empty trends, and people adopt them more for social approval than genuine belief. The tone is witty and a little jaded, fitting the song's theme of questioning the optimism of past generations. The chorus plays a sarcastic infomercial for life itself, mixing urgency with absurdity. The opening line, "so don't delay, act now, supplies are running out," mimics the high-pressure sales tactics used in commercials, but here it's not selling a product, it's selling time or maybe even hope. The ridiculousness of the next line, "allow if you're still alive 6 to 8 years to arrive," turns it into a joke like some shady mail order promise. It's poking fun at how society, or maybe even political movements, packages big promises with fine print, as if change is always just a few years away, if you are lucky enough to stick around. The next lines, "and if you follow, there may be a tomorrow, but if the offer is shunned, you might as well be walking on the sun," sound like a twisted motivational speech. Following the crowd, if you follow, might give you a future, but rejecting it, if the offer is shunned, leaves you in an impossible situation. Walking on the sun, also known as doomed to fail or completely out of touch. The sun here is a metaphor for something unbearably harsh and unrealistic, suggesting that going against the grain is as futile as trying to survive in a place where survival is impossible. Overall, The chorus feels like a darkly humorous take on conformity and false promises. It's saying, sure, play along with society's rules and maybe you'll get somewhere. But if you don't, good luck surviving in a world that wasn't made for you. It fits the song's theme of mocking blind optimism and the way people are pressured into buying into systems that might not even deliver. The tone isn't hopeless, though it's more like a smirk calling out the absurdity of it all. In verse 2, Smash Mouth takes a cynical look at the idealism of the past, specifically the counterculture movements of the late 60s and early 70s, and how their meaning got lost over time. The verse starts by painting a nostalgic picture. 25 years ago, they spoke out and they broke out of recession and oppression, and together they talked. This references the hippie era where young people rebelled against societal norms, protested war, and embraced communal living, often with marijuana, toked, and folk music, folked out with guitars around a bonfire, as symbols of unity. The line, just singing and clapping, man, what the hell happened, suggests a sense of delusionment. What started as a genuine movement for change devolved into something hollow. The next lines highlight how that generation splintered. Then some were spellbound, some were hellbound, some they fell down. Some stayed true to the ideals, spellbound, others lost their way, hellbound, and some just gave up, fell down. But a few kept fighting. Some got back up and fought back against the meltdown, implying that real change was rare and most of the movement fizzled out. The most biting line comes next, and their kids were hippie chicks, all hypocrites. Here, the song calls out the next generation for adopting the aesthetic of rebellion, tie-dye, peace sign, etc., without the substance. They turned rebellion into a fashion trend because fashion is smashing the true meaning of it, reducing a once powerful cultural shift into just another style to be bought and sold. Overall, this verse is a critique of how genuine social movements get watered down over time. The rebellion of the past became a commodity, and the kids who inherited it cared more about looking the part than actually changing anything. It ties back to the song's broader theme, questioning whether any real progress was made or if it was all just another passing trend. The tone isn't just mocking. There's also a hint of disappointment, like the band is saying, you had something real and now it's just a costume. Verse 3 takes a sharp turn from the song's earlier sarcasm and delivers a raw, sobering commentary on real-world suffering and personal responsibility. The opening line, "It ain't no joke when a mama's handkerchief is soaked," with her tears because her baby's life has been revoked, immediately sets a heavy tone, referencing the grief of losing a child likely to violence or drugs. Unlike the playful cynicism of earlier verses, this feels urgent and emotionally charged, forcing the listener to confront harsh realities rather than just mocking societal trends. The next lines, "The bond is broke up, so choke up and focus on the close-up. Mr. Wizard can't perform, no godlike hocus pocus," suggests that once family or community ties are broken, there's no easy fix. Mr. Wizard, a reference to the old TV show Watch Mr. Wizard, symbolizing quick fix solutions or authority figures, can't magically undo the damage. It's a call to face problems head-on instead of waiting for someone else to solve them. The verse then shifts to a direct warning. So don't sit back, kick back, and watch the world get bushwhacked. News at 10, your neighborhood is under attack. Here, Bushwhacked implies being blindsided by chaos, and the mention of the nightly news makes it clear this isn't some distant issue. It's happening in your own backyard. The line, "put away the crack before the crack puts you away," is blunt, tying self-destructive behavior to broader societal collapse. It's not just about individual consequences. It's about failing the next generation, emphasized by the closing line. You need to be there when your baby's old enough to relate. This drives home the idea that personal choices have ripple effects. If you're not present, your kids will inherit the same cycles of dysfunction. Overall, this verse strips away the song's earlier irony and delivers a stark message. Societal decay isn't just something to laugh at or critique, it's something people actively enable or ignore. The tone is almost confrontational, pushing the listener to stop being passive and take accountability before it's too late. It's a jarring but necessary shift in the song, reminding us that behind all the satire, there are real stakes. The outro takes the song's central metaphor and drives it home with hypnotic repetition, reinforcing the idea that going against the grain of society is as futile and as dangerous as trying to walk on the sun. On the surface, the phrase sounds almost playful, but when you consider the imagery, it's a bleak punchline to the song's entire message. The sun isn't just hot, it's an impossible environment for survival, symbolizing how society treats those who reject its norms. By repeating, "you might as well be walking on the sun," 4 times, the outro turns the line into a mantra, hammering in the inevitability of failure for anyone who doesn't conform. What makes this especially powerful is how it contrasts with the rest of the song. Earlier verses mocked empty activism and shallow trends, while verse 3 took a darker turn into real-world consequences. The outro ties it all together, suggesting that whether you're a hypocritical trend chaser, a passive observer, or someone trying and failing to change things, the result is the same. You're left in an unwinnable position. The repetition almost feels like a resignation, as if the band is saying, "Yeah, this is how it is. Try to fight it, and you'll burn." Yet, there's a rebellious undertone to the delivery. By making the outro so catchy and repetitive, Smash Mouth turns societal critique into something anthemic. It's not just a warning, it's a challenge. The song doesn't offer solutions, but by spotlighting the absurdity and harshness of the status quo, it invites listeners to at least question it, even if in the end they might as well be walking on the sun.